Thank you, Program Director. Program Director, the SARA President, Madam Caesar Mzimela, and the Board of SARA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to share with you my thoughts about the importance of safety and security of infrastructure and rolling stock. I've chosen to do it this way, mainly because of time. It's just before lunch, and we may not have much time to discuss as we have been doing the whole morning. So I have prepared something that is going to cover up a lot of things that I think would be of your interest as well if you had enough time. This topic has been a bit of a latecomer to the program, but it was felt by the board of SARA that it is so important and vital that something must be said about it. And one of us in the board was asked to put some highlights to the audience so that even if we don't discuss it fully today, but you can chew on it and think about it for future discussions. And so I've prepared something here, and while I'm looking at the back there, I've made a summary of my message so that you can have those nice highlights that you can easily remember, even if you didn't hear what I'm going to be saying now in 10 or 12 minutes. I will focus more on the rail-related infrastructure, which is where I come from. But as one talks about all infrastructure, rail infrastructure, there is no avoiding touching on other infrastructure associated with the railway logistics value chain. It is globally known that a country's transport infrastructure is a good indicator of the country's economy. It is also true to say that rail is an enabler of the country's economy. We heard that as well yesterday. Most of the cargo transported by rail goes to the ports. Somebody made a very comment yesterday that with beneficiation in mind, this should change. This is cargo from the mines, from the agricultural sector, from manufacturing, and other sectors. The interrelatedness of these sectors can also be seen on the conference program. The program recognizes the important link between these important sectors. In his introduction on the white paper on the National Transport Policy of South Africa, the Honourable Minister of Transport, Mr. Fikile Mbalula, said, and I quote, "South Africa plays a very important role in the region as a transit point for many landlocked countries, as a trade hub for exports and imports. Our transport infrastructure and operations must be such that the country is competitive as we strive to reduce the cost of doing business. This vision finds resonance in our development plans and is well articulated in our transport policy," close quote. I agree with the Minister that the cost of doing business can be reduced by more efficient ways of developing and maintaining the transport infrastructure, this including both rail and ports infrastructure. The same is true for better ways of managing our rail and ports operations in all the affected countries. Of course, when talking about goods transportation, road also plays a critical role. And all these modes of transport, better managed through legislation and operationally, can indeed reduce the cost of doing business in our countries. The Transport Policy White Paper also commits to providing a transport system that, amongst other things, will advance the national, regional, and global competitiveness of the country. This, I submit, is true and relevant in all other countries in their quest to provide the seamless and efficient transportation system throughout the African continent. Rolling stock of availability, as well as the efficiency and safety thereof are as important. It will serve no useful purpose to have world-class infrastructure with no trains, both locals and wagons, to use on the infrastructure. Again, the efficient use of rolling stock will not only increase the lifespan of the rail infrastructure, but will result in happy customers who will begin to feel the reduction of the cost of doing business in the region. Companies, I must say this, like the Indlela Connectivity, who were here this morning, are busy putting in place advanced IT systems that can help us indeed to locate the rolling stock as it moves across the region. Keep up the good work. We heard you, ladies. In South Africa, But before that, the white paper on the transport policy also touches on something very important, namely the intermodal coordination, cooperation, and the sharing of information amongst different transport modes. This must be encouraged in both infrastructure provision and operations to optimize customer service, eliminate duplication, reduce destructive competition, minimize total costs, and also maximize social and economic returns on investments. There is usually a conflict between providing higher levels of service and minimizing infrastructure costs. It's not easy for any government to meet all these demands. Tough choices and trade-offs must be made. In South Africa, we have witnessed a horrible trend of vandalization of infrastructure. This is caused by various factors ranging from irate citizens who are demanding service delivery from the government to crime-driven actions. One can argue and say people are sometimes justifiably angry for the lack of service delivery. But now listen carefully to my input and my submission. However angry people can be, there can never be any justification for banning a station or a train when a train is late. It is equally wrong and unacceptable to burn down a school or a clinic while demanding a road to be constructed or repaired. The government must come to the party here and change legislation to declare useful infrastructure like the railway network and train stations as national key points, the destruction of which must be seen as high treason that must be heavily punishable by law. These horrible acts of cable theft, infrastructure vandalization that we have come to experience on a daily basis should be brought to a stop, as they are nothing else but serious economic sabotage. The government and the state-owned entities like Transnet, PRASA, Eskom, and Telkom cannot continue to repair or rehabilitate already existing infrastructure that has been deliberately vandalized. That is unacceptable. It is encouraging to hear that the railway police will soon be brought back to work jointly with railway companies to stop this scourge of vandalization of our railway infrastructure. And I must say here, we as contractors to Transnet and PRASA, we appreciate what we have seen happening in the recent past, where the SOEs are working tirelessly to ensure that the infrastructure is safe and secure for us as contractors to work on the network. Investment in infrastructure is key in various ways. It provides job opportunities, improves the socio-economic conditions of people, especially the poor. Once developed, it must be protected and maintained accordingly. Preventative maintenance versus reactive maintenance becomes key to ensure that the much-needed infrastructure serves its purpose for a considerable length of time. In the transport arena, both road and rail, as well as the port environment, safety is a very important element of the whole value chain. If the infrastructure is not well maintained, in line with accepted maintenance standards, the risk of serious accidents that can result to loss of life is very, very high. Sufficient capital expenditure must be set aside continuously to ensure that the infrastructure is safe, reliable, and secure. The role played by independent bodies like the Rail Safety Regulator can never be overemphasized. Legislation must be strengthened for these important regulatory state organs to have teeth to deal effectively swiftly with any body or organization that acts in a way that compromises safety. Again, borrowing from the white paper on transit policy of South Africa, given the long-term and often indivisible nature of investment in transport infrastructure and systems, South Africa, like all other countries, especially those in the SADC space, must build a strong financial base for the development and maintenance of transport infrastructure. There must be good, ethical collaboration between the public and the private sector to ensure that infrastructure development and maintenance is given the importance that it deserves. As was suggested yesterday by the panel on rail infrastructure funding, public-private partnerships must be seriously considered as one way of addressing the railway infrastructure funding gap. It was gratifying and encouraging to hear yesterday of the good collaboration by the different funding houses calling themselves the Group of Five, whose intent is to provide quick and workable solutions for railway infrastructure. Service providers to railway and ports authorities must up their game and provide world-class machinery and equipment that will ensure safe, reliable, and efficient services to their customers. At Plaza and Toira, research and development is encouraged and embarked upon on a continuous basis to find new and better solutions of dealing with rail-related challenges and meeting the ever-evolving needs of the customer. Emphasis is also put on the well-being of staff, ensuring that they are continuously upskilled and well taken care of in all aspects of work life. As the saying goes, a happy employee is a productive employee. Service providers to the railway industry must advance with the times and meet the demands of the challenges brought about by the fourth industrial revolution. We dare not lower our guards and get stuck in old ways of doing things, saying that we have always done it this way. We have to change with the times. In conclusion, allow me to thank the SARA board for making this important topic to be part of the theme for this year's conference. Much as we all know the importance of doing those things that make our businesses tick and make our customers happy, discussions like these in conferences of this nature ensure that we, at all times, uphold high performance standards as well as high moral values and ethos as we provide goods and services in our respective environments. With those few words, I would like to thank you. Thanks.
Okay, then I may continue. Yeah. Dear SARA delegates, ladies and gentlemen, honorable auditory, as exotic contributor to that conference, I may be sorted into that session here. But first of all, I want to convey very, very warm wishes from Germany to the rail community in Southern Africa. My name is Axel Schuppe. I'm General Manager of the German Railway Industry Association, and I have the pleasure in the moment to co-lead the delegation of the German railway industry to South Africa. As Germany has already been mentioned several times today, thank you very much for all the flowers. And indeed, Germany has a developed rail system in the perception of a lot of people outside. But to the comfort of you all, even in Germany, not everything what is shining is gold. But, and this is true as well, we have dynamics in the ecosystem, real dynamics. Part of the ecosystem is the railway industry or rail supply industry with a large number of large system integrators and its powerful backbone, this so-called German Mittelstand. We need it more than ever, that industry, because looking on the most important global challenges of our time, climate change, global warming, growing urban areas with polluted air and traffic jams, the strive of people for increase of living standard, and peace also needs global transport. What is one solution for all these issues? Trains, trams, tracks, TTT. And now I start my presentation. The end of mobility as we know it. New partnerships for future mobility. Does it work? Okay. What does the future of mobility look like? What would it be if trains would be the alternative for all people to make it their mode of transportation of choice. What would it be if the famous Shosholoza trains, I learned, would become comfortable and high speed to run in only 8 hours between Johannesburg and Cape Town? Somebody mentioned high speed between Cape Town and Cairo. What would it be if freight containers are automatically routed through a network, including rail, like parcels? What would it be if freight trains would run seamless via dozens of borders without changing locomotives and without changing the train drivers? What would it be if trains for people could run on demand automatically when people want to get from A to B? And what would it be if rail technology components would diagnose themselves and would predict maintenance services when they would be needed? And what would it be if greenhouse gas emissions or greenhouse gas emitting traction technology for rail would be the past soon? What would it be if rail transport would be robust, reliable, on time, forever, without the opportunity to be threatened by cyber incidents? I think to achieve all that, we need a new integrated thinking, a new integrated thinking, and we call it Industry 4.0. Coming to the German rail industry, so we collect more than 210 member companies. We have more than 50,300 employees and a turnover of 12 billion euro within the association. And from that, a portion of 40% is export. And regarding the member companies, I already mentioned, we have a very, very unique structure. A bit, you can see it here. This is the fishbone of the historic development within the structure of the German rail supply industry. So on the left, on the right, you can see huge system houses, system integrators we have, and their history. And it may be that you discover some famous names which are also well known in Africa from the past. And on the other side, this system integrators are supported and living by a very, very large backbone of equal powerful supply chain, small and medium-sized enterprises, also so-called the German Mittelstand. And what is characterizing that industry? I think innovation and performance, excellent ideas, even in detail, because always the devil is in the detail. That's why you also need good ideas in the details. Cooperation and commitment. And why I did raise all that questions. I mean, when we all have a vision of high speed over all Africa, or of seamless travel by trains over all Africa, then a vision, when we consider it as a roof and to construct a house, then a vision as roof is laying on pillars, and the pillars are laying on a foundation. And I think the foundation is very good here, and to achieve that vision, sometimes in the past, we need to construct the pillars, pillar by pillar, and build on that what is there. And to create that pillars, together with you based on that. What is here, I think that's why we are here as German rail industry. To cooperate, to contribute, and as Germans for sure, to contribute and to be on time, and to make Africa's rail system better for the future and better for the people. The future of mobility starts with us. And finally, please come. Mobility reinvented. Thank you very much for your attention.